Alrighty. 3, 2, 1.
Hi.
All right.
Welcome to the cursed episode of the Incoherent Podcast with Billy and Aiden.
This episode is messed up.
This is our third time recording episode 6 of this podcast.
Yes.
Do we
want to explain what I guess so the first time we recorded episode 6, after we were done recording it, we weren't too happy with what we had filmed, so we were like, we'll go ahead and make another episode 6 and keep that one as like a secret episode that maybe someday we'll release.
Yeah.
And then this time we recorded the next one. It went perfect. Great podcast, except for my computer messed up a couple times, but other than that, great podcast.
Yep. It was good. And then I realized that I went to go edit it, and this is already like a couple weeks after we recorded it. I go to edit it.
We pre-record. Yeah. We pre-record a lot of our stuff. We're like 3 or 4 podcast episodes ahead.
Right. So at this point, we've already recorded like episode 7 and episode 8, but we're recording episode 6 right now. But so I went to go edit it last night, and I realized that I don't have my file for the audio. It got misplaced, and I have no idea where it went.
Walked away.
So I just had to text Billy in the middle of the night and be like, dude, we're going to have to re-record again.
That's okay, though. I feel like this was a good episode to have to re-record because I think it's a very easy episode to re-record. So to basically get into things, we're going to be discussing some anticipated upcoming movies that we're excited for. Oh, and then I guess a little disclaimer, I am a little sick, so if that's why I sound like I'm talking through, like, I don't know, a trumpet or something, then that's the reason. But for all we know, I could sound great. I could have, like, a very wonderfully scratchy voice right now that sounds very sexy.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's where we're going.
We can just talk like this the entire time.
Talk like those TikTok e-boys who do the scratchy voice and be like, what would you do?
What would you do
next to you at the stoplight?
If I told you about
I turned to you and said,
most anticipated movies of 2023.
I can't even do my signature laugh. I can't because I do that I can't even do it now. But I have that little bit of a whistle laugh. I don't even know what you call it.
Billy's a different person.
Can't even do that because I'm a little bit more. I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I'm the Simon Cowell of the. Is that how you pronounce his name? Simon Cowell. I'm the Simon Cowell of this podcast today. I'm gonna be rude. I'm gonna be mean. But I'm gonna be real.
I actually, whenever I get sick and my voice changes, I had a video of me recording something and I was kind of sick. I was like, ooh, I kind of wish my voice sounded like that all the time. I was like, what's up, guys? Damn, dude.
You sound so.
What happened?
I don't know. I guess it's that older deep voice sounding, right? I mean, technically, there is a way to get that, cool, scratchy voice.
Is there?
All you have to do is be an avid smoker.
Yo! That's true.
I'll
go get myself some Marlboro.
I was going to say, to plug some bad habits,
Hell yeah. We should.
Hey, to be fair, though, at least 18% of our audience is of smoking age. They can go out and buy cigarettes. So
please send us cigarettes.
We're okay. Yeah. Well, we'll give you guys our P.O. box so you can send us cigarettes next episode.
We'll have a smoking podcast where it's just us
Oh God.
But let's
That's so bad.
let's get into the movies of 2023.
Yeah.
Again.
Woo. Yeah. So when we recorded this, I guess we'll go ahead and just get at least one of them out of the way because we've already seen one of them.
Yeah.
When we recorded this the first time, we were in I don't know, it was probably February 10th or something like that, maybe 13.
It was 12, actually the 2nd.
The 2nd?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know it had been that long since we recorded this episode.
For context, it's the 20th right now.
Yeah, I thought it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
No, it's been a minute.
Yeah, I did not know it was that long. Yeah, but so for context, we had not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp then. Yeah, and I don't even think it was out then. So we had that on our list. But we have seen it now, and we will do a podcast episode for episode 8. Episode 8 is going to be our Ant-Man and Wasp episode. So I think we should probably avoid talking about it.
I think it's
as much as
is
possible.
it episode 8 or is it? No, it's episode 9 actually.
I think.
Yeah.
I think we just do 8.
Yeah, we just did 8
last time. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason I cannot remember that we did 7 because I think when we recorded episode 8, I was doing the same thing, wasn't I? I was trying to label it as 7.
Yeah. Yeah, we get
weird.
mixed up sometimes.
I don't know why I mix them up so bad.
It's all right though. Yeah, so with Quantumania, it'll be a few weeks before our podcast about that movie specifically comes out. But if you want to hear some quick opinions on it right now, you can head over to Mr. Tincher's channel where he has a video on Quantumania.
Yes, I forgot. I actually forgot I made a video.
Yeah.
About it.
So you can get a little preview of what the podcast will be like.
Yeah, it'll be this. That'll be my short synopsis of it, and then for episode 8, we'll you'll get Aiden's side of things, and then we'll definitely go way more in depth.
Yeah.
Because we'll have an hour or so to talk about it, rather than I don't know how long that video was, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Rather than the 5-minute video where I just kind of quickly laid out my thoughts.
Yeah, we'll go pretty in depth about it. So yeah, that was
which is kind of crazy thing. That's the first video I've uploaded without a script, unless I guess you count the podcast. Technically, we don't have the podcast on a script or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, for like actual uploaded thought out videos, that was the first one I didn't script out.
Yeah, it was good too. Like I think when it's like really fresh on your mind, it's sometimes just easy to kind of with no script just kind of go with it.
I definitely feel like it's a bit more natural.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you memorize the script, read, like whenever you're saying it, you say it a little bit like you're reading it, so it like seems obvious that you have it scripted out.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't care about not scripting my stuff out is how I have the tendency when I'm losing my train of thought to look away from whatever I'm looking at.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like, I want to maintain that like eye contact, like I'm looking at the camera. I don't want to keep like looking all shady and dodgy and like looking away from it.
Treating the camera like it's some stranger or something, making
I'm like lying to my boss or something like that.
Yeah.
I have to keep looking away,
He doesn't really think this about Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie we won't be discussing it in this episode. But we can go ahead and kick it off with another Marvel movie, which we just saw the trailer for, the full trailer, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yes. So when we had seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, that was actually the first time I had seen the full Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
Yeah.
I had seen clips of the trailer,
but
that's the first time I had ever seen the full thing.
Yeah. And
what'd you think of it?
I think it looks good. Like, I'm like, oh shoot, okay, more Guardians.
Yeah, I think it looks like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is fantastic. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So as long as it is another Guardians of the Galaxy movie and not a, Thor: Love and Thunder, then I have nothing but anticipation for this.
Yeah, because as we've talked
I will
about,
say,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that Groot is a little bit of a girth master.
Dude, he is. He's kind of bulked up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a little random, but I just wanted to get that out. Like, I don't know why he's so thick.
He's pretty girthed up, man. I think maybe it's because maybe in the first movie he's technically old. Maybe he's supposed to be old, so he's
this is like thinner. His like chunky teenage years. I guess.
He's like in his like prime years right now. So maybe as he like gets older, he like, I don't know, kind of shrinks a little bit.
Grows into his body a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I
don't know. I'm interested. I'm interested to see what their like explanation for his like build is, because I'm almost positive that's like what everybody's talking about is, wow, Groot is built so different.
Yeah.
So there's no way they don't mention it in the movie.
No, there's gonna be like a workout montage of Groot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, how would that work? He's a tree. Do trees get stronger if they work out?
He's also a tree that speaks and only says, I am Groot, so...
I guess, yeah, you can't look into the details of it too much, huh?
Yeah, I guess not. This movie
is a movie that takes place in space with a talking tree and a raccoon.
That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, so I guess the, muscle building technique of a tree is kind of the least of our worries here.
Yeah. But yeah, as we've talked about before, Guardians is one of our favorite Marvel IPs, and so it's also we've talked about how it's always a little bit separate from the rest of the Marvel movies. So when I look at this, it's not like another Marvel movie; it's another Guardians movie, and that
it feels
to me
like
makes
just
me
like
excited.
it feels like its own sci-fi series.
Yeah. So and when I look at it, I don't just see a Marvel movie with the Marvel formula slapped on it. I see, just because it was pretty much the one that started the way we see Marvel movies now.
The less serious, doesn't take itself as I don't know how to explain it, but it definitely plays into a bit more of a comedy movie.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy have really mastered the mix between serious and comedy that for some reason we just aren't seeing in some of the other Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
For some reason, just in those movies in particular, they haven't hit that yet.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if, because from Guardians of the Galaxy 1, we're set up with, these people are quirky and goofy, but, that's kind of just their character.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if the reason it felt off-putting in other Marvel movies is because here are these characters that have been previously very serious, that all of the sudden are just jokesters and
they've already been established.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's they've seen Guardians of the Galaxy's success, and they're trying to play it into this. They're like, oh, we want this success to hit our other movies.
Yeah.
And so they try to make their other characters do that as well, and it just doesn't work because these are already established characters with already established character traits.
Right. So, I mean, they're the ones who started it, and I think this is going to be a good movie. I don't see how they're going to mess up a Guardians movie, really, and I think this is the last one, I'm pretty sure. So,
is it?
I think so. I mean, maybe not. Maybe they'll just keep going with it.
Because I had always had the assumption that Marvel's gonna keep all of their stuff going as long as they can. I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that Tom Holland is done being Spider-Man. So I don't know what their plan is to do there, but in terms of some other stuff, if the actors were willing to be the character, then I didn't think that Marvel was going to end any of their stuff anytime soon,
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll see. But, this will be a nice kind of getaway from worrying about, oh boy, next Marvel movie, I hope it's good. I think this one is just going to be, it's just going to be good, and we won't really have to worry about how it fits into the larger part of the universe. We'll just get to see these characters that we know and love again.
That is something that I feel like is very nice about Guardians of the Galaxy. Is you want to go watch any of the other. You want to go watch Iron Man? Okay, you have to go watch Iron Man. You want to go watch Iron Man 2 or 3. You have to go watch Iron Man 1. You have to go watch Captain America. You have to go watch Thor. You have to go watch the Avengers, and then you get to 2. Or I guess no, 2 comes before Avengers.
Yeah.
But if you're doing 3, you have to go watch all these movies before you catch up. Guardians of the Galaxy, you have to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, and you're good. You're caught up.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that is very nice.
Yeah. I guess we can go ahead and swing it to another Marvel movie that we saw a trailer for, and that's Across the Spider-Verse. What did you think of the trailer?
I'm looking for that on our list. There it is. Okay, yep. Across the Spider-Verse. I think that trailer looks fantastic.
Oh, it looked awesome.
I think this is going to be absolutely out of the park. They're going to go so crazy with this one.
Yeah. The first one was so good.
If it's anything like the first one, this is 100% a competitor for movie of the year.
Yeah, and I just looking at the trailer, I'm like, you know what, this is I don't know. I like it already. Mm-hmm. I don't see how they're gonna mess it up.
When we saw the trailer in the theater, it reminded me of one of the, which I think I'm probably the only person on earth who has this. Mm-hmm. Feeling, I'm probably not, I'm exaggerating, but it reminded me when I saw the first movie, because of how it was animated, I think the whole thing is in 60 frames per second, except for the characters are in 30 frames per second,
mm-hmm.
and so that's why they look like they're moving different,
Yeah.
And that wigged my eyes out. I remember watching that movie and thinking the whole time that I was losing my sight. I was like, God, my peripheral vision is going wonky. And I don't know if it's because the background had this layer. Whenever you go see something in 3D and you remove the glasses and everything's got that extra layer to it.
Yeah.
That was what like some parts of the movie looked like to me.
I remember feeling that way
I remember
too.
that, and I remember that really freaking my eyes out. Like I remember walking out of the theater like with a headache because my eyes were so like stressed out.
Yeah, the visuals in that movie are very jarring. As cool as they are, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I remember it looking incredible, but it was just like freaking my eyes out for some reason.
And I think the new one has a little bit of a different art style. I'm not too knowledgeable about animation.
I would have to go rewatch the first one because when we saw the second one, it definitely, when I saw the first one, I was like, oh, this is animated differently than I would have expected, and I thought the same thing with the second one. When I saw the second one, I was like, oh, you can tell that they went with like a certain style of animation.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it's like slightly different, really different, or different at all than the first one.
I don't know.
So I'd have to rewatch it.
Comparison.
Which I mean, I'm sure I definitely will go rewatch it before I go see this movie.
Yeah. So yeah, Across the Spider-Verse. Go watch the trailer. It looks really good.
It's going to be fantastic.
We're definitely going to have an episode about that movie right there.
For sure. When that movie comes out, 100% episode.
Absolutely. Do you have one that you want to mention next?
Yeah, to keep it within superheroes, I guess we can go to Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
And we saw the trailer for this as well, or like the most recent edition of it.
I am a very big Shazam fan, which I think I mentioned when we recorded this before. Shazam, for like the longest time, was one of my favorite superheroes ever.
Yeah, before the movie, right?
It just kind of sucks that I think they're going to do him dirty in this one. Because the first Shazam movie is pretty good. It's not like the greatest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. But in terms of DC movies, like, yeah, that movie's fantastic, Yeah. I don't think this movie's going to be very good. I think it's going to be like Black Adam, which I feel like some people thought was okay, and nobody thought was great.
Yeah, I unfortunately think this movie's going to be... I don't like to hate on things before they come out, but I don't think this is going to be very good at all. Watching the trailer, and I'll say this about the first one. The first one is it's not a bad movie. I saw it once, and when you compare it to Marvel movies, because it's very obvious that DC is just trying to use the Marvel formula themselves.
They're trying to get a little bit of that.
Yeah, so when you watch the first Shazam movie, for DC, it's good. But if you held it up against Marvel movies, it's would be a weaker one easily, I feel like.
Oh, for sure.
So this new one...
I think it would be, Sorry, I don't know what I was going to say. I was like just talking for no reason.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just saying this new one feels pretty bland, and the trailer shows a lot. The trailer shows pretty much the final battle.
Yeah,
which was ridiculous.
We pretty much already know what's going on.
Yeah,
in the movie, which is kind of crazy that they would go for that.
But I guess we'll see with that one. I'm not too confident with it.
I am not either. I am very welcome to be surprised. Yeah. Like if we go watch this movie and this movie is just like hands down the greatest thing I've ever seen, I'll be ecstatic. I'll be through the roof. But I am not expecting much.
Yeah. Unfortunately. But
another superhero movie that's coming out, The Flash.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The Flash. Oh man.
Woo!
What is supposed to be DC's like saving grace, I guess. It's supposed to
they're
reinvent
like revamp. Yeah, they're like revamp. This is how they're gonna this is how they're gonna compete with Marvel here.
And we saw the trailer, and it was, I don't know what I really. Yeah, at least I remember seeing it.
Cannot remember the trailer. Hang on.
I might have watched it. Actually, I might have watched it on YouTube.
Trailer. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this trailer.
Yeah, it was like the Super Bowl trailer. I don't really know how I feel about it. I haven't been invested in the DCEU at all.
Have you been invested in the IRL lore behind the Flash?
Yes, I have. I do know all about Ezra Miller's doings, and it is. Yeah, I have no idea what they're gonna do.
It is wild to me. It is so crazy to me that all of this is going on. And DC wasn't like, okay, we need to like scrap this, recast, and then come back to it. Instead, they're like, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Keep going. Full send.
I have no... Dude, DC is so cursed. Just like this episode. They just can't. This movie, I'm surprised it's made it all the way through. The trailer looks pretty wild though. Like there's some things I like about it, and then there's some things that I'm not too sure about. Some things that look a little bit cheesy. I don't know.
I'll have to give it a watch because The Flash has been one of my. I have 3 favorite superheroes, and that's Spider-Man, The Flash, and Shazam.
Yeah.
And so when I first heard about this movie, I wanted it to succeed really, really bad. And then all the stuff with Ezra Miller went down, and then I was like, okay, this movie needs to not happen,
Yeah, which I guess, when Ezra Miller is the star of the movie, but so many people worked on it, it's more, there's probably 1,000 people behind this movie, that had a lot of passion into it, so I guess that would be the argument for why it should still, come out and everything. But it's interesting that so much also rides on this movie because they just gave the slate for the new DCU, the new DCU basically. Like it's going to be reinvented by this movie. So interesting.
Like it all hangs on how this movie does. If this movie, gets them where they need to be, then they're like set basically.
Yeah. So we'll see. I also don't have very much confidence in it. I think it's cool that they brought back what's his name? Is it Michael? Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah.
His Batman. I thought that's pretty cool. I hope that they actually do something cool with it instead of it just being like the Fantastic Four was in Multiverse of Madness, where it's just kind of there to be like, ooh, hi, and then
they're gonna have him pop in and then just kill him off immediately.
Yeah, so hopefully they actually do something pretty cool with that. But that one is very that one's got some lore behind it, so we'll see how the Flash does. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's in a weird area where it's like, oh, I want to see a good movie here, but this movie is kind of cursed, so like,
Yeah. We'll see.
Yep.
Do we have another superhero movie? Oh, go ahead.
I don't believe we have another superhero movie, but I do think I have a good segue into the next one. I was going to talk about like, just redundant and, cursed movies. Fast X.
Yeah. We saw the trailer for this too, right?
Yes.
We saw the trailer for like all these movies.
This was the one where, you see the helicopter and then you see his car like drop out of the helicopter and land on another vehicle on the highway for some reason.
There wasn't like...
And then those other helicopters like shoot tethers into his car. So he like drives off the highway and like makes the helicopters smack into each other.
Dude.
It's so crazy. So I have only seen like the first, third, and like fifth Fast and Furious movies, and so in my eyes, it's so crazy to me to see, they're street racers, and then all of a sudden they're like saving the world, like, they're like wrecking spaceships, they're getting chased by multiple governments, like what? These are freaking street racers, like.
Yeah, and yeah, that franchise it's baffling that it's become what it is today because it was almost canceled multiple times pretty much. And then it just somehow became a staple and for good and bad reasons. But yeah, I guess this is supposed to be the beginning of the end for it, at least for Vin Diesel.
Right, I was gonna say, I think Vin Diesel's the only one still taking this franchise seriously.
Yeah, and you think about like all the people they've brought into this is insane. Like, I guess this is Jason Momoa's debut in Fast and the Furious, and like, you have John Cena.
Well, yeah, because they had John Cena, they're gonna have Jason Momoa, The Rock. Yeah, they've like
Idris
every
Elba.
big name. I guess not every big name actor, but they've had some of the like biggest names in acting. Show face in this franchise, and it's just so crazy that like the franchise is what it is.
Yeah, and I think we should go see this movie.
100%.
Yeah.
I need to go watch the other Fast movies, which maybe you and I do like a video or something like that, where you and I like binge watch all the Fast and Furious movies or something, but I definitely need to see them all because I've only seen a handful of them, and only very little of that, if any.
And I was also under the impression that the early Fast and the Furious movies were like serious movies that were actually pretty good. But I watched a video covering them, and they were actually never well received pretty much at all. Like they had like a cult following pretty much.
Yeah, I know about the cult following. Like anybody who likes Fast and Furious loves Fast and Furious. You know, like those people who like that franchise will die for that franchise. But I didn't know that it wasn't like a mostly beloved thing. I thought like most people regarded it with, you know, good thoughts.
Yeah, it was always very silly. Like the second movie.
I watched the first one, and I didn't think it was like crazy or anything like that. I mean, it definitely had like some parts in it that I were like, you know, it's not great, but I didn't think it was like bad movie or anything. It felt like, how do I explain it? On the level of Blade. You ever seen those Blade movies?
Yes.
That's how those movies felt to me. Like those movies felt very similarly like in the same like category of like, yeah, these movies feel like this.
You know what? I want to say that, okay, I might have this wrong, but one of the directors for Blade did a Fast and Furious movie. I can be entirely wrong on that.
Right.
I'll have to look that up.
Well, I think it might also just be because those are both early. I think those are early 2000s movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both of those movies come from, you know, very early 2000s, and so it's very possible that was just the style of filmmaking that made them feel very similar. Because you ever go back and, like, watch the, like, infomercials, or I don't know if they're infomercials or just commercials, on, like, old DVDs and stuff?
Uh-huh.
Like on the first Incredibles or something like that. It's, like, kind of crazy how, like, trailers were set up.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, you see a trailer and it's like, boom, crashing building, boom,
music,
you know, the villain getting, music building up. It's, you know, it stops and it's like the person's mentor being like, "Are you sure you can do this?" And then it's the character looking back at the camera and being like, "Yeah," and you know, and all that. But you go rewatch some of the like old trailers and it's like,
this is not your ordinary family.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like. This summer, Cars Drive.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like no action in the like trailer at all. It's like the people like talking and stuff.
Yeah. Very different styles.
It's very like you can definitely see where trailers have evolved since then.
So it's this franchise. It's crazy how it's evolved. And it's still going right now.
Yes.
So, yeah, Fast X, that'll be a fun
Speaking
watch.
of Fast and Furious, because this kind of has something to do with what I was doing this weekend, I went car shopping this weekend, and I was looking at a bunch of vehicles, and I was looking at, like, some Civics and all that.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and apparently Civics were just kind of like whatever cars. And then when Fast and Furious came out, that became Honda's most popular vehicle ever.
Really?
Because of Fast and Furious.
Wow.
So, you know, Honda's got a lot of callback to Fast and Furious, you know.
Fast and Furious is really just like a commercial nowadays. It's a commercial
that is
with
true.
action.
It's just that's true.
We should count all the product placements we can in this next movie.
Yes. That would be fun, actually. That'd be very fun.
We'll see. We'll tally it up.
Right.
Let's see. So, yeah, going from one action movie to another, and one that's actually going to be probably pretty good, John Wick 4.
Oh, yeah. So, funny story with John Wick. I've only seen the second one.
Ooh.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought that was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I mean, not like story-wise or anything like that, but the action scenes were probably the most well-put-together thing I've, like, ever.
That movie is, it's still my favorite, is 2.
Yeah. I have not, I've seen, like, a little bit of 1.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't seen any of 3.
So all 3 are good. Definitely watch all 3 before you go into 4.
That's what I've heard. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that they didn't like the John Wick series. I definitely heard people like have criticisms about it, but it's one of those series that's just it's good enough that even the bad stuff doesn't take away from the fact that it's a good movie.
Yeah, it has its strengths and it does them so well, and it does them so much better than, it does them the best right now out of any movie I can think of.
Right.
Just the choreography of all the action scenes and
I know that the choreographic team for John Wick 4 is like regarded as like one of the like when other movies like have the John Wick team for their choreography. I know they like market that. They like say like, oh, choreography done by the same team who did John Wick and stuff. You know, like other people brag about John Wick's choreography basically.
Yeah, it's an incredible. You could just mute it and honestly watch it. It's just so cool, and surprisingly funny. Like there are many times where I laugh out loud watching John Wick.
It is pretty goofy. I remember though, in number 2, there's this scene where him and the other dude are fighting, and they like go down a flight of stairs, and they just keep like throwing each other to the next step, punching each other a little bit, and then the other guy grabs them, rolls them over, and throws them down to the next step, and they just like go down the steps like this.
Yeah, and it's brutal.
I remember thinking that was such a cool but like goofy scene.
My favorite scene in John Wick 2 is when one of them they're in like a public space, almost like a mall or something.
Is it when they start shooting at each other
with silencers?
Yes.
And they're trying to be all low key about it.
I love that part.
Yeah, I remember going to see John Wick 2. I was with my uncle and my dad in San Antonio, and they were like, "Let's go to the movies. Let's watch John Wick 2." And I was like, I haven't seen the first one. And they're like, "It's fine." Basically, someone kills his dog and steals his car, and he goes and he kills everybody. I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Trust me, it doesn't matter. You're gonna like this movie." And I was like, "But I have to see the first one," and it didn't matter. I went and I freaking loved it. I was like, "This is badass."
I remember when Infinity War, like the trailer had dropped, and people were like all excited for Infinity War, and they were all like, "Oh, how are the Avengers gonna stop Thanos?" I remember one of the memes that was going around was that they were gonna like get Thanos to kill a dog, and then Thanos was gonna be like, "Whose dog was that?" And then John Wick was gonna show up.
John Wick could solo any fictional character ever, and I will
Speaking of how they were gonna kill Thanos, do you remember when everybody thought Ant-Man was gonna go up Thanos' butt?
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
It would have worked, man.
I agree.
He could have.
So I don't know why they didn't do that.
They should have. They should have done it. Did they do it in What If? Was that a thing? I feel like they did something with Ant-Man where he like shrunk down and killed people like that.
I don't think so. I know that there was an animation at some point, but it was like a fan animation. It wasn't like an actual Marvel thing. I would imagine that, you know, shrinking down, going into somebody's anal cavity, and then growing big again, it probably doesn't fit Disney's like meta.
Well, it's okay because they did it in The Boys, so it's all good.
That's true. I forgot. That was weird.
Wasn't quite an anal cavity though.
I forgot about that. That is The Boys doing what Marvel's afraid to do.
Pretty much. But yeah, John Wick 4, super excited. Love the John Wick series. Keanu Reeves is my well, you know, he's kind of like a father figure to me.
Like, yeah, I've considered changing my last name to Reeves or Wick.
I'd change it to Wick. Aiden Wick doesn't really.
Yeah, I want to change my name. I want to change my name to Neo.
But yeah, that'll be a good movie.
Did you watch the newest Matrix movie?
No, I heard it wasn't very good. Yeah,
that was such a bad movie. Like, you go watch the first Matrix, and Neo is like dodging bullets. He's like warping the world around him, flying. And in this one, people start shooting stuff at him, and he goes, "Ugh," and then the bullets stop in front of him.
I feel like The Matrix is such a hard series to I don't know.
Achieve, I guess.
To like span out into multiple movies. I mean, I guess you could.
Which, I mean, it makes sense because I mean, like the first Matrix movie was amazing, and then the ones after that were just so not amazing, you know.
Yeah, I think.
And then it felt like it kept getting worse. You know, like the second one wasn't terrible. Like people still liked the second one, but I think I've heard a lot of people say that they really don't care for the third one.
Yeah, I have only seen the first.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that they've liked the newest one.
Yeah, I haven't either. I have not either. Let's see. Do you have another one you want to mention next?
I do not, but I guess I can go ahead and just pick one randomly.
Okay.
let's go with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yep, I've also seen the trailer for this. I'm not like a huge Indiana Jones fan. I think this is mainly for the people who grew up watching Indiana Jones. I think this is like which is interesting. This is the second like reboot sequel they've done. I mean, it's not a reboot, but because they had the one with Shia LaBeouf like quite some time back. And that one actually didn't do too well. So I'm curious to see if this one's going to do
that one was called Holes, right?
Holes?
No, I'm kidding. Imagine.
I love Holes.
Oh, God. Imagine. That is so funny.
This is Holes too.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to, like, ruin your train of thought or anything. I thought that was a really good, like, shoehorn.
Yeah. But yeah, I honestly don't have much to say about Dial of Destiny. I don't have too much.
Yeah, I think the Indiana Jones movies are good, but I personally have never like fallen for the series or anything like that. You know, like I get that like exploration type movie, like genre of film, has never really been my like cup of tea. Like I know like people love Indiana Jones, they love The Mummy, and stuff like that. Both of those movies are definitely good movies. But I just personally never like, they never grew on me.
Yeah, I'm with you in that boat. Let's see. Knock at the Cabin Door, that did just come out recently.
Yes, I still haven't seen that one though. Have you?
No, I haven't, and it looks like the reviews are mixed.
I was about to say I've heard mixed reviews about it. I've heard people say that like, they do the whole like end of the world scenario idea very well, but at the same time I've also heard people say the exact opposite, that like it was a very cool idea, just kind of poor execution.
Yeah, that's the thing about M. Night Shyamalan, is he's so hit or miss with his movies. Like I just recently watched Old, and to me it was one of those movies where it's so bad it's good. Like the writing in that movie, the dialogue and the pacing is horrendous. Like There was so many moments I was like, I can't believe that this made it to a final cut. It's just so, and I guess that's his whole thing, is like he writes his own movies, but he's not really worried about the dialogue. He's not really worried about the interactions between the characters. He's more worried about the concept and how that's executed.
Yeah, he is definitely he gets this like crazy idea that nobody's ever thought of before, and that's what his thing is based around. It's not based around having interesting characters or interesting plot or anything like that. It's based around this like wacky concept that he made up.
And to be fair, like it works with some movies. Like I like The Village and I like Signs. And The Sixth Sense.
Have you ever
is obviously
seen?
classic.
I was just about to say The Sixth Sense. That one is regarded as like a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's well written too. So I
remember
guess
that movie used to like freak me out when I was younger for some reason.
It is a freaky movie. But yeah, I mean, like it's weird how hit or miss he is, and I do still want to go see it, because if it is like Old, I'll enjoy it, and if it's good, then I'll also enjoy it.
Hopefully, it's not just like bad.
Yeah.
Which I've actually talked about an M. Night Shyamalan movie on my channel.
Yeah, you did.
A little bit, kind of, briefly.
Go visit Tincher. It's his first video.
I was going to say go visit Tincher. The video is called Finding Good Representation of a Troubled Mind and I'm Not a Serial Killer, which I realize now is a very long title.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it only has like 16 views or something like that.
Well, go run it up.
I think out of the, excluding the podcast episodes, because those only ever hit like 10 views, I think excluding the podcast episodes, that is probably my worst video on my channel. Like, worst performing one.
Well, I mean, it's your first one, so...
That's true, yeah. You would have expected it to have gone up from there. So, I mean, like, if there was going to be a worst one, I'm glad it's the first one and not, like, the one I just posted. That would suck,
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
Speaking of videos, I still need to post my 100 subscriber special.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess it's going to be a bit wacky, because I think in episode 8, I think you and I talk about how we just hit 100 subs, so this is going to be very disorienting.
We're messing up the timeline.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'll stop mentioning YouTube now so y'all can stop.
Yeah, we'll have a whole podcast about that.
Yeah. Yes, the episode 8 will be about YouTube and stuff, so
yes,
you can
sir.
save all your questions and concerns for that episode.
Oh yeah. Let's see. What's another one here? Another one that came out recently was Cocaine Bear, which I saw got absolutely terrible reviews.
It's already out?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go see that so bad. It looks like a funny bad movie.
It doesn't. I don't think anybody was expecting it to be a good movie. But yeah, it just looks so crazy. It looked like a Sharknado movie.
I was about to say, have you ever seen Super Troopers?
Yes, yeah. So
When I was seeing the trailers for it, it seemed like it was going to be that style of movie.
And it looks like it's funny that this got like a big sort of like box office release. I do still want to see it just for fun.
Yeah, even if it's like the worst movie that comes out this year, I still want to go see it. It seems like that's a movie that they were making for fun, and so I want to go have fun watching it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be boring. Let's see.
I agree. I don't know how you could make a bear hyped up on cocaine boring.
Yeah, exactly.
I would hang up my cape as a film director if I somehow made that boring.
Watch, we come back and we're like, oh god, that was the most boring movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, that movie drug on and on and on. There was no character development.
There was no character arc for the bear on cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh god. It'd be great if the bear became like a kingpin.
Right. It starts talking in English.
Yeah.
Next, I think we should mention Elemental, because the first time we recorded this episode, I mentioned that I thought this movie was a shitpost. I didn't think it was real.
Yeah.
I saw somebody post something on TikTok. Oh, so I figured out what it was, because remember I had said that I remembered seeing like a really weird animation of it and thinking like, wow, this is a weird movie.
Yeah.
And so I figured out what happened is somebody saw the trailer for this movie, decided to make their own animation of it, and then posted it like they had faked this animation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one is... It's funny because, I mean, Pixar always comes up with a, always pretty, like, creative concept for all their movies. Mm-hmm. Toys come to life. Monsters working in a facility, getting power by scaring people. There's always a cool concept.
Yeah, I feel like Pixar, it's the first to everything. There's never like this has been done before kind of situation when it comes to Pixar.
Definitely.
I feel like they're the trendsetter in most instances.
Mm-hmm. At least they I mean, they've been... I haven't seen... What is it? Turning Red I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that, but I've heard very good things about Turning Red.
Yeah, I've heard pretty good things about everything they've released recently. So I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a Pixar movie I didn't like.
Yeah, I think just some of the sequels sometimes don't do as good, like Finding Dory and Toy Story 4.
Right.
I don't think those necessarily do as well.
I get Lightyear. I forgot Lightyear. I didn't care for Lightyear.
Was that Pixar?
Much. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought that was like.
So I mean, that movie wasn't like horrid or anything. It was just kind of like
I mean, of course, I guess it's Pixar, but why do I feel like it wasn't? It didn't seem like a Pixar movie.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to mute all the parts where I'm dying over here. I got a little tickle in my throat and I'm choking to death.
No, you're good. You're good. Lightyear. Let's see. Made by Pixar. Lightyear is produced by Pixar. Yeah, interesting.
Which I mean makes sense. It's it's Toy Story, so.
Yeah, I guess it just didn't feel like it was gonna be a Pixar movie, but.
Right.
Yeah, this one be interesting.
Oh, Incredibles 2, I guess, wasn't super well received.
Yes, yeah, like I was saying.
Which I mean, I guess it
ones.
Still falls under that. The sequels don't do fantastic.
Yeah, but I'm curious. I like it when they come up with some new ideas. I was thinking Elemental. That seems very I don't know, not plain, but just pretty straight up. But then they also made a one about cars, talking cars, and it was called Cars.
Right.
So.
I mean, they made one. Yeah, when you think of Pixar, Cars is one of their greatest things that they've ever done. A Bug's Life is fantastic, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, those... Toy Story is one of their greatest IPs, and all three of those are things that you're like... No, why... Like, you can't make a movie out of that, but they did.
But they do, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think right now, probably the modern classic that Pixar has is probably Coco, because that one... I think.
Oh, yes.
That's got to be one of their most popular.
Yes.
Was
movies. Encanto a Pixar movie?
No, Encanto was just Disney movie. That one also got very popular because.
Oh, so it's not a Disney Pixar?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah,
I was gonna say because I would say that Encanto, Luca, or is it Luca or Luca?
Luca,
I think. Luca and Coco, all three of those were like. Pixar's like, or I guess not Encanto since it's not a Pixar movie, but if it was, I was going to say that all of those ones were like, you know, going to be cult classics for like today's kids.
Yeah, I definitely see that being, you know, the ones they look back on fondly as the ones they grew up on, because those are good movies. I think typically if the movie has a lot of singing in it, then you know it's a Disney movie, because I don't think Pixar makes any ones that are almost like musicals.
Actually, that is a good point, actually. Pixar does the non-singing ones, and then Disney does the musical ones, huh?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Pretty much. But yeah, Elemental. I'm curious. I think it'd probably be pretty good.
I think so. I think it's a weird concept, but I'm open to it. You know, it's not like so weird. I mean, what did Pixar made Soul, right?
Yeah, Pixar did make Soul.
I mean, that's kind of a similar idea, right? It's like a spirit, so it's not like a physical thing. So it's kind of a similar idea. You know, you've got just like kind of a weird concept that they're gonna make a movie out of. And,
I mean, they made a whole movie
Inside Out.
Yeah,
Inside Out. They made a movie about emotions, like.
Yeah, and it works. That's a really good movie. Inside Out was another one that'll be a classic.
Pixar can truly make a movie out of anything.
They really can. So yeah, exciting stuff.
I guess do you want to stick to like Disney property and go with Little Mermaid next?
Oh yeah, I think I said last time we saw the trailer for this as well.
Yes. It was a very short trailer. It was like
it wasn't very
announcement
long.
Trailer, basically.
I mean, I haven't really watched that many of like the old Disney movies. Like, well, I guess it's not. Little Mermaid isn't that old, but you know, like the classics.
Yeah, you know, back when our parents were young, you know, when they were still being pulled around by a horse and carried. You know.
I mean, I think I grew up watching. I think there's a few, but mainly Pixar movies is what I grew up watching. But yeah, you know, in that realm of like Aladdin, I watched Aladdin. But
sorry, you're gonna have to mute that part out. Sorry.
What happened?
my dad said goodnight, so I called back out.
Oh, okay. But yeah, they're. I don't really have much writing on this movie. Because
for me personally, I don't think I've really cared for any of the live action remakes yet. Yeah. Granted, I've only seen like one or two of them, but I thought they weren't good.
Yeah.
So I don't have super high hopes for this one.
Yeah, I guess we'll see, and it's also not really made for us.
That is true. We are definitely not in the in that demographic.
Yeah, we are a little bit outside the age range. I don't think they're really going for 20-year-old.
We could be Disney adults at any time.
We could. Maybe we'll love this
Disney
movie.
World. Go to Disney World and seek out all the hidden Mickeys.
Yeah, I did that last time I was there, actually. Kind of like 16. That was pretty good.
Nice.
But yeah, this is a movie that I probably won't see it, but my little sister will probably see it, and she'll probably love it, so...
Get her on the podcast.
We'll get her on the podcast. Little 3-year-old.
Your sister's name is Olivia?
Yeah, Olivia.
I'd be like, Olivia, what are your thoughts on The Little Mermaid?
I want ice cream. But yeah, I'll take her to see it. We'll see. We'll get her thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Super Mario Bros. You were looking forward to that movie.
Ooh, I'm very excited for this movie. When we recorded this episode the first time, I think I had mentioned that when Chris Pratt was announced as when it was announced that Chris Pratt was going to be voicing Mario, he made a video and he was like, "It's-a me, Mario." no, I'm just kidding, guys. That's not actually what the voice is going to be. And then the trailer came out, and everyone's like, hey, man, that was exactly what the voice was.
Exactly it.
So I'm excited for it. I saw a trailer where they did like a fake like plumbing commercial for it.
Oh,
you
yeah?
know?
I haven't seen
where
that.
It was like, I can't remember how the jingle goes. It was really super catchy. Like, I kept rewatching it because it was so catchy. And at the end, the lady goes, "Thank you, Super Mario Bros. It seems like the only thing you haven't drained is my bank account." And it's like, she's like very obviously like reading off a script and everything. And I think I heard that they got the original voice actor for Princess Peach and the like the original Super Mario like cartoons.
Oh, wow.
I think they got the Princess Peach voice actor to voice that lady in the commercial, so that was kind of cool.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, this it's loaded. The cast is loaded in this one, and the animation looks really good too.
I remember when this was first announced, I was like, Chris Pratt as Mario? That's what? Jack Black as Bowser? What?
Yeah, everybody
was freaking out the whole time. Yeah, I was like, what?
And then, Jack Black as Bowser, when the trailer dropped, I was like, yes, this is good. This is perfect.
He is. Yeah, they could not have done better with to be fair, I think Jack Black just owns every single role he's in.
Yeah.
Like, he is definitely one of those actors that I personally regard as, like, the greatest actors of all time, you know?
He's just so great in everything he's in.
He is so lovable. It is so hard not to like Jack Black.
Yeah, just his energy, everything about him. He's incredibly funny, and he made one of my favorite movies ever, which is School of Rock. And
School of Rock is good.
And yeah, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I could quote it endlessly. And
every time I think of Jack Black, I think of Kung Fu Panda, which in turn makes me think of Hans Zimmer, which in turn makes me think of what is it called? Sacred Tears or something like that. The one where Oogway passes away.
Oh.
That song goes way harder than it needs to. Like, that song goes crazy.
Dude, the Kung Fu Panda movies go crazy in general. Like,
that is true, yeah. Those are some great movies right there.
They really are. I think we grew up watching Jack Black and Kung Fu Panda and, Nacho Libre and just a bunch of movies, and he's great and everything. So I'm excited to see his Bowser in this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I saw a clip. I cannot remember what the movie is from where Jack Black is in, but he's like standing all funky off to the side, and the lady comes in and she's like, "Where is your robe?" And he turns around and he goes, "It was stinky."
That's so
funny.
I think that's Nacho Libre, I want to say.
Is that I was assuming it was, but I couldn't remember for certain.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Nacho Libre.
For some reason, that clip is cracking me up.
That means so good.
It was stinky.
We need to make a whole episode about Jack Black. He's great.
We need to get him on the podcast. Let's send him an email.
Oh my god, I'd freak out. That'd
be so crazy. What is his YouTube thing? Jablinski Games or something like that?
Jablinski Games, yeah.
Does he still do that?
I don't know.
Because I remember he was like posting every so often, and then it's been a couple of years since I've like checked in on it.
I remember when it started because it was like pretty cool. Like Jack Black's making a YouTube channel,
right?
And there was no gaming because it's supposed to be a gaming. It's Jablinski Games.
I remember like the first like couple of months, all the videos were him talking. He was like, yeah, haven't been able to record any games yet, but that's coming soon or something like that.
Because he was waiting on the El Gato. He was like, when I get my El Gato, there will be games.
I remember it was like really it was super goofy because he like couldn't figure it out. Like I mean it was obviously on purpose, but he like muted the audio for one of the things or something.
One of the things, like one thing recently that just solidified Jack Black as a national treasure for me was when that song WAP came out, and it became this like huge like controversy. People like, it's so vulgar, it's disgusting, how can this be allowed? And then Jack Black posts a video on his Instagram of him in a Spider-Man costume with like a sprinkler going, doing the entire dance. It was so good. I was like, why can't we all just be Jack Black? He just yes-ands everything.
He bridges the gap between celebrity and normal people, I think.
Yeah, he's just He's a treat. Enough Jack Black praise for today. We'll save
I think we'll save it for the episode when he's on.
We'll talk about like our
I've just gotten my confirmation email saying that he'll be in on episode 9. So.
Oh, I thought that was we were gonna have what's his name on?
James Cameron.
Well, James. Well, he said he was gonna have his mic fixed by then.
I was gonna say I was about to say we already have James Cameron on. He's typing in our Discord chat right now. So every so often, he's just asking us to relay some stuff. He says, like right here, he says, subscribe to Buggy Films and Tenture on YouTube.
Oh, thanks, James.
Thanks, James. Can I call you Jim, James? I can't believe I haven't asked that yet.
Oh yeah, you said you can. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, Jim says he's gonna have his mic fixed by episode 9, so maybe he'll join us with Jack Black. I guess cool. We'll see.
Do a dual. What do you call it? Guest.
Yeah. So James Cameron and Jack Black. Look forward to it. Episode 9.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I will pick for my next pick. I will go with Beau is Afraid, which is Ari Aster. I think that's his name. He made Hereditary and Midsummer. And also other movies, but he makes those pretty wild, like psychological thriller horror movies that become super popular.
This is the one with Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not like a huge fan of his or his movies or anything. They've always been. I have watched them, and they definitely are not boring. They are wild, and they do creep me out. So this being his new movie. And I saw the trailer, and it looks wild, and I am really excited for this one. It basically, I need to rewatch the trailer, but it went something like Joaquin Phoenix gets hit on the head or something, and then he's like, it's almost like a what's it called, Misery scenario, where he's like trapped somewhere, but he has these like hallucinations, and there's one scene where he's in this like cartoon world. Looks absolutely wild, and I am excited for this. I think it's gonna be, if it's not a good movie, it's at least going to be well made and
like
probably
wild,
not boring.
It's going to be an interesting experience nonetheless.
Yeah. So
so I hadn't heard anything at all about this movie until you mentioned it. I think I might have like seen part of the trailer or something like that.
Yeah.
But like how you had described it, it seemed like a movie I'd really enjoy because I've always been a big fan of the like weird mind boggler kind of genre, you know?
Yeah.
The stuff where you don't know if it's really going on or is the character just like hallucinating, making this stuff up, you know, you don't know. I always really love that stuff.
Yeah, this is one that's definitely on my watch list, and I'm looking forward to it.
We'll have to go see all of these together so we can talk about them on the podcast, especially now that we've mentioned them here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. We don't have too many left.
Yes. I think we have just like 3 or 4 left on our list. I'll go ahead and go with my next one, which is going to be Creed 3.
Creed 3, yes, sir.
I have not seen the first 2 Creed movies, but they've looked very good. And I think boxing movies have a very good track record as well.
Yeah, boxing movies are they're always fun. Like, there's nothing... I like the other 2 Creed movies.
It's always got that, like, you know, like, uplift, you know, like, even if the main character is down, they always find a way to bring it back, you know? Yeah. And it's just always enjoyable watching movies like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one, too, because Jonathan Majors is playing the opposing, or his opponent in this one.
Yes, and he does such a good job. Like, well, I won't mention too much, but I think he really stole the show in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited to see him in this movie. I think him and Michael B. Jordan are going to be a great duo, and I think this movie is going to be pretty damn good. So excited.
Yeah, I think they're both fantastic actors, and I think they're going to be a very good pairing.
Yeah, I mean, I almost want to like take bets to see who's going to win, like, because I feel like this might be one where they don't make the main character win. Yeah. I feel like that, because that happens in the Rocky movies, you know, there's the ones that he wins and the ones that he doesn't, so.
Right.
This one's actually going to be kind of a nail-biter, because sometimes you kind of see it coming, like, okay, no, this one he's going to win. But for this one, I really don't know. I feel like it really is a toss-up between
They definitely did a very good job of making it seem like, you know, it could go either way. You know, whereas like you go watch a movie trailer for something else, and you're like, oh, I know exactly, you know, how this ending is gonna be. You know, I know that there's gonna be a good ending involved in this. Yeah. But with this one, you know, it really could go either way.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this one.
I remember one Halloween when I was like a sophomore in high school. I had a friend come to school because we would like dress up a little bit on Halloween. My friend came to school dressed up in like a boxing attire, and he's like, "Do you guys know who I am?" And everyone's like, "Oh, Rocky." Like, I don't know. And he's like, "No, I'm Creed." Keep in mind, this is like the whitest kid you'll ever see. He's got like super like brown curly hair, like super. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Creed."
Right, dude. Yeah, that was my second guess. Oh man, should have just said he was Rocky.
For real, it was more believable. But I mean, he didn't have the Sylvester Stallone like lazy talk.
I guess. Yeah. He's got to get Sylvester Stallone voiced.
It's always kind of crazy how Sylvester Stallone. His name is so hard to say. He talks like his tongue is really, really swollen.
He kind of does. Yeah.
Not to like dog on Sylvester Stallone. Mr. Stallone, feel free to come on the podcast and defend yourself.
Yeah, episode 10, maybe?
Yep. Maybe episode 9. We get all of our guests in on episode 9.
Just rapid fire through guests. Let's see. I think the next one I will mention is Oppenheimer. The trailer for this looks crazy. I really like Christopher Nolan's movies.
It looks very good.
Yeah, and Cillian Murphy is, one of the best doing it today. So it's going to be very tense. I'm excited. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much same thoughts here. I mean, it's definitely an interesting topic. It's the nuclear bomb. So it's gonna be very interesting. I think it'll be very hard to make this not interesting.
Yeah.
So hopefully they do it justice.
He's a very interesting director. How he goes from making the Batman movies to, these sci-fi movies with crazy concepts like Tenet or Inception to making a historical, a historical drama, I guess.
Right.
But he's done it well in the past, and I think with this lineup of Josh Peck is in this too.
This guy has the director. He I can't think of his name. What did you say his name was?
Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. I mean, he's produced nothing but some of the greatest movies ever. So
he's got range. That's for sure. Okay.
Next,
see.
I will mention Dungeons and Dragons.
Ah, yes. Dungeons and Dragons.
I was skeptical about this movie at first. I didn't think it was going to be good or bad. I was like, it could go either way. The more I see about it, the more I am excited for it, though. I'm very excited for this movie. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Huh. Maybe I'm just being cynical, but I don't know. I saw the poster for it. I was like, I just feel like I've seen this before. I feel like I don't know. I
definitely want. When does it come out? It comes out in March, right? March 30 or March 24th or something like that, right? I think you and I should find some way to play Dungeons and Dragons before we go and see this movie, because everything I've seen about it, everyone in the comments is like, "Oh my god, this movie captures, what it's like to play Dungeons and Dragons with a bunch of goofy friends so well." Yeah. And stuff, And so I really want to be able to understand this thought process behind it, Because what if we go see this movie and you and I, who have never played Dungeons and Dragons, sit down and it was, stereotypical medieval fantasy. And then we sit down and play Dungeons and Dragons and we're like, oh, I get it now. That is such a funny joke.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to do that. I do really want to play some Dungeons and Dragons. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while.
I really do. We might be able to, because they have preset, what do you call it? Like people make
campaigns
and stuff. Yeah. So it's very possible that you and I can play on a preset campaign. I don't really know exactly how D&D plays. I don't know if we would need a DM there to babysit us the whole time or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I do want to get some people together though, and like see what we
I
can
think
do.
it would be really fun for like a YouTube series to do like game nights. We just like play Dungeons and Dragons on like Friday nights or something.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm totally down to do that.
You know, when you and I are wealthy enough to own our like content creation warehouse or whatever that we make, we'll have our room dedicated to D&D. We'll put all the like the miniatures and the sets and stuff, in there.
Hell yeah.
That'd be so cool.
I would love to do that. But yeah, this movie, I'm pretty skeptical about it. I don't have expectations for it at all, so it could blow me away or it could not. But I'm skeptical because I just don't know. I really don't know.
For me, I think this is probably my most anticipated movie of the year. I don't remember if that was what I said the last time.
No.
Do you remember what I said the first time we recorded this episode? I don't remember what I said my most anticipated movie was.
It
had to have been either this one or Super Mario, I think.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
I think this one might take the cake though, just because I am such a fan of medieval fantasy, and I've always wanted to be a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and so it feels like this is my my way in.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, I just generally get excited when a genre or a movie of this genre comes out, just because I do love fantasy so much.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's a good movie. I really am.
I agree.
Let's see. We only have, I think, 2 left.
I think
Evil Dead Rise.
2. So I have only seen parts of one of the Evil Dead movies, and I don't know which one it is. It's the one where the dude cuts his arm off because it's like attacking him.
Yeah.
And
I don't know which one it is.
I remember seeing this movie and thinking the whole time, wow, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, same. I've only seen Army of Darkness, which is, I think, the 3rd one, and the whole thing was like a fever dream. I had no idea.
I've always wanted to check into this series though, because it seems like such a fun, goofy horror series.
Yeah, they have a show as well.
Is it even horror? I don't.
Yeah, it's like horror
thriller
comedy-ish. Again, I've only seen Army of Darkness, which is definitely a horror comedy. But I'm not sure if the first one is or the second one is as well. And I do know the show is a horror comedy as well.
Gotcha.
But this one definitely seems separate from those.
I don't really have any expectations at all for this movie, so I don't know if it's going to be because not having really seen any of the Evil Dead series before, I really, this could go either way, and I don't think it'll affect me in any way.
Yeah, I think this one, the only reason it's on here, and it looks very separate from the other ones, the only reason it's on here is because I really did enjoy the trailer. And the reason being is so many of the horror movies we see nowadays are very simple, setup and jump scare, setup, jump scare all the time. And I like it when they just create a creepy atmosphere where they actually show the monster or whatever it is without it having to be this big jump scare moment. Similar to how I really liked Haunting of Hill House, and there's this scene where this kid's in bed and he hears something like walking or something, so he hides under his bed. And you see the ghost come in and he's floating, and you just see his legs slowly creep in, and they're right in front of the bed. And there's no jump scare to that scene, or maybe there's at the end. I don't entirely remember, but the scariest part was just slowly seeing him drift inside and seeing his legs go to the edge of the bed. So I like it when they show the monster, and I think this one really does. And that was something the other Evil Dead movies did as well.
I think if you can show your monster and the monster can still be scary, then you've got a good monster.
Yeah.
In a lot of other movies, the scary part of the monster is you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so if you're able to get past that, the scary part of it is not knowing what it is, then you know that the monster is what's scary and not the the concept of the unknown, which is another thing I talked about on my channel.
True. Tincture.
Why We Are Afraid of the Dark.
Yes, and the ocean.
And the ocean does discuss a very similar property there, actually, yeah.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I think it's
good plugging episode, I guess.
Yeah. I think we've almost mentioned all of your videos.
Very close. There's like 2 or 3 that we haven't yet.
Let's see. Yeah, so it looks very much in line with how The Exorcist does its horror, where it's not jump scare and jump scare and jump scare. It actually shows the demon, the monster, and it's the visuals that make it so frightening. So I'm excited for that. I hope it is what I'm wanting it to be, but again, I'm not super invested in the Evil Dead franchise, and I don't have a ton of expectation. Just going off the trailer, I'm interested in it, and I'm excited for what could be.
Right.
And then...
keeping in line with the horror thing, the new Scream movie.
Oh, yeah, forgot about...
Yeah.
We have that on here.
So I haven't really seen a whole lot about it. I've only seen like 1 trailer. It's got Jenna Ortega in it, and I think she was fantastic in Wednesday, so... that's cool, I guess. I like Jenna Ortega. Other than that, I'm kind of impartial with this movie. I think it's going to probably be bad. The trailer seems like it really plays into the, this is your stereotypical horror movie kind of thing, And so I'm not, too thrilled by it. But I just thought it was maybe worth mentioning anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only seen the first Scream, and one of the things that makes that movie so good is how self-aware it is, and how it pokes fun at other horror movies as it creates an effective one itself. But I know that as the series goes on, it starts to lose some of that. So I don't have any expectations for this movie. I hope it's good. It'd be cool, but I also don't know much about it, so...
Right.
Yeah, that's really all I have to say about Scream 6.
Yeah. Ooh. That was the weakest woo I've ever given in my life. I tried to do it good, but my voice cut out.
It's all good. I'll input another woo in there to make it super loud.
It's like a super robot. You type in the text to speech WHOOO.
Woo.
Woo.
Let's see. Okay, so there's one last movie on here, but this movie's kind of an anomaly. We don't really know what it is, and it's Arthur Malediction.
Yeah, a little out of left field with this one, because it's the weirdest concept we have ever laid our eyes upon.
So we grew up watching Arthur and the Invisibles.
Yes.
This animated movie.
A movie I didn't know was real until you had just mentioned it the last time we tried to do this episode. I thought I made that movie up.
Dude, it's because it wasn't ever this big time blockbuster series. It was just something that, I don't know if you, as growing up, you had your collection of DVDs. This was one in there that you had or your cousins had or something that you would watch. Right. It was always just kind of there, the Invisibles trilogy. And I remember loving it. We watched all 3 one time on a road trip, and I was like, this is good stuff.
I remember it was fantastic. Another movie that falls under that, I don't know if that movie really happened or not, is, I think it's called Aliens in the Attic.
Yes. And that did happen.
Yeah, I remember watching that movie thinking it was fantastic. And then I, got into I was, slightly, maybe 2 years passed, and nobody talked about it anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of I'd be surprised to probably go back and look at a lot of the movies I grew up watching and being like, oh shoot, I totally forgot about a lot of these. But yeah, so Arthur Malediction is apparently a horror movie that is based on this series. And I looked up a list of 2023 movies coming out, and it had this on there. But when you look up the movie, it says 2022, and it already has reviews for it. And apparently it's a French movie. So I don't know if
coming
it's getting
to America in 2023, maybe.
That's what we're wondering. And also, I will say the reviews are abysmal.
I saw that as well. The reviews are about as low as can be.
Yeah, so this was definitely an anomaly. I don't really know what it is or what it's going to be about, but something interesting, and I probably will check it out at some
something
point.
to look out for if you like Arthur and the Invisibles. I don't know how a horror movie could possibly tie into that, but But sure.
Do not know. And it's also interesting how the original movies, if I'm not mistaken, are like this it's a French movie based on. I mean, I don't know if the originals are technically British movies or.
I think they've got to be British. They have
Freddie Highmore.
Because they have English accents in that movie, I think, right?
Do they? Well, it says USA.
Europa Corp. It says country France, actually.
Oh.
It says production companies Europa Corp, and then under that it says country France.
Dude, this it was also pretty loaded in the cast. Wow, it had
Snoop Dogg,
Madonna,
Jimmy Fallon, Madonna,
David Bowie.
What?
Wait, David Bowie I think he played the villain.
You were not. This is like the most loaded cast I've ever seen.
What?
That is crazy.
Robert De Niro? Jason Bateman? Dude, this is wild. Dude, we gotta rewatch this movie.
We really do. We need to go back and watch these ones.
It even has another guy from Chaz Paul Minitry. He was in a Bronx Tale. It has Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch these movies for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that wraps up our list. And
yeah, I don't think we had any more listed on here.
Hopefully this is it. Hopefully this is the final cut of episode 6, and it will release.
Yeah, we apologize because this episode is going up a day late, but for good reason. It's not like we just forgot.
Yeah. So, and actually, this is going to be because this episode is getting released pretty much as soon as I get done editing, and I'm editing right after we pretty much hit end on this. So this is going
probably within the next 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, so this is like the most current episode that we've released.
Because we'll
pretty cool.
We'll be recording it and then uploading it immediately. So, hi us in a couple of hours.
Hey.
And YouTube in a couple of hours.
Woo!
It's kind of cool, I guess. It's kind of sick.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But those are our movies of 2023. Yeah. Thanks for watching. The next episode will be about our most anticipated video games of 2023.
Oh yeah, be looking out.
Look forward to that.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, music going in now.
Dun 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 dun.
Bye everyone.
Bye bye. Hey guys, it's Billy recording the outro now. Sorry, we forgot to talk about Anteaters this episode, even though I promised it in episode 2. But I swear we will record an episode about Anteaters on episode 8.